Willie D Live.
It's Willie D, y'all, back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. In the studio, MC Lyte.
Yes, y'all.
Boom, 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 boom. You know what? If I had really been thinking ahead, I would have brought some drums in here just for you.
Is that right?
Just for you.
I can imagine them. It's okay.
Happy belated.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel? How does it feel to be still standing?
It feels great. I am humbled and I am grateful because I've seen with my own eyes what can actually take place.
Yeah.
And the fact that I have circumvented with, I guess, with a handful of others
Right.
who have remained within the culture and still have our eyes on what it means to contribute to the culture, I feel extremely blessed.
Right. Do you feel respected?
Yeah. But I mean, from those who matter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that really matter, huh? The ones that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what I want to know is, I know from your contemporaries, you know, and all of the people that do this for real, we love the hell out of you and we respect you. But any of the youngsters, does any of the youngsters ever reach out for information? Because you got the blueprint. Like, you've been through the gamut, the ups and downs. You've been standing, like 4 decades. You got
close to
you
it.
got the blueprint.
Yeah, well, I do get calls. Not so much from the guys who are on their beginning stages. The women in their beginning stages, yes. I hear from Tierra Whack, Lady London. You know, Rhapsody's been in it a minute, but we definitely talk. And the guys that I hear from are either the OGs or the ones who are just about to embark upon the voyage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're still trying to figure it out, so they're willing to listen.
Yeah.
And they feel like there's something to learn.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What can a young woman learn from MC Lyte about maintaining her good looks? Because you look good, like always. I mean, I know you've been hearing this for a long time, but, you know, that's not something you can just take for granted.
You know what? I count it as working towards my peace and self-reflection and just trying to be stress-free, you know, letting things roll off your back. Nothing is really life or death unless it's life or death. And if it's not, it's like you take it with a grain of salt and you keep on moving. I think it's when people get stuck that they start to wear it. And I don't ever want to wear it, so I just let it go.
Right.
Drink some water, get out in the cool breeze, breathe some air. If you can get some exercise in, get it in. You know, have talks with old friends where you can where you can laugh at things that are silly, that aren't so monumentally heavy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You got a go-to prayer or scripture?
Oh yeah, trust in the Lord in all my ways, and He shall direct my path.
Right. I like that. Write that down.
Yeah.
Write that down. Sparkle.
Gee, you trying to be funny? Okay.
You know, that was your first rap name. Why'd you ditch it?
Because it was part of a group called Pure Elegance, and it was Sparkle and Dazzle. And when I went out on my own, I just changed up. Not really what it means, but just the word, right? Sparkle and light, kind of same sort of idea.
Right. And you could actually equally play off either word. There's so many ways to play off those words.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. You grew up in Brooklyn?
I grew up in Brooklyn, East Flatbush, deep into Brooklyn. It's a little Caribbean space so to speak. It was when I finally went to Jamaica. I was like, oh my God, Brooklyn looks like Jamaica. Especially
How so?
the part where, I use the term Jamaica loosely, but Caribbean overall, because there were Bajans, Bahamians, Haitians, Barbadians, Guyanese, Grenadians. I mean, you name it. It was a melting pot. And on our most busy streets, on our avenues, there were all storefronts owned by them. Traveling agencies, record stores, barbershops, restaurants, video stores, you named it. I think there might have been a laundromat that was owned by an Asian family and perhaps a Chinese food restaurant. Outside of that, everything was owned by the people in the community. And that's how Jamaica is.
Yeah. I heard you say in an interview that you was a faking Jamaican.
I am.
Yeah. So you totally embraced
do what you
the
do to
culture.
get along, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? No, actually, for some time in elementary school, junior high school, people thought I was Panamanian, and I didn't stop them from believing it because it just was best to fit in.
Right.
There were many things I didn't do to fit in, but that I didn't mind. It was like, oh, you think I'm that? Okay, cool.
Yeah. What did you do during the rough patch? You've had a lot of success in this game, but as you and I know, we are in the type of industry what they call spotty income, especially like the music industry.
Ebbs and flows.
One year, man, you can make $1 million. Hell, and the next year, next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you may not make nothing, some crumbs. How did you maintain your sanity during that rough patch?
You know what? I think I would probably owe a few things to my manager, more than a few things, to my first manager. One,
Robinson?
Yes.
Yeah.
One for, doing all he knew how to do in putting together an independent record label, signing artists, getting us out there, doing our first major deal with Atlantic Records. Somewhere early in my career, he was like, you know what, we're going to build your name to supersede the need for a hit record. Because hit records come, not so often, but we'll build it so that, your name will be a household name regardless of that. And when he said that, it sort of opened up my eyes to all of the other things that I would allow myself to go on and do. And that's, act, so I prepared myself with acting classes. Voiceover, so I prepared myself with voiceover coaching. It was those types of things. Him saying that opened up the door to those types of things for me, going after it and feeling as though I had the freedom to do so. And then also, he was very much into home ownership. And so all of us bought our first homes probably in 1990. So you figure I'm in the game. 86, I meet with the manager, the record label, everything. 87, I do my first single is released. 88, the first album was released. 90, I'm on the road. And 91, I buy my first house. And since then, I've owned many homes on both the East Coast and the West Coast. And it has never, ever, 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 ever failed me. And that is the secret to wealth. It's the most openly known secret. I think the disadvantage that this younger generation has is the belief that owning something doesn't matter. Like I don't need to own a home, or I don't need to own my own vehicle, or I don't need to own. And if there's anything that I would say own over your jewelry and your multiple cars, is a car that you own that is not leased, and a house that you may or may not have a mortgage on, but that you can build equity from. And so when those rough patches happened, I was able to pull equity out of my homes and survive.
Right.
Amongst having multiple streams of income, which I think is really important.
Was there ever a point during that rough patch where you would go places and people would see you and they know that's MC Lyte, but they're not really clamoring like they normally do when you got a hit record, when you're all on the TV and all in the video?
I moved to California for that. To just be regular. Like I could rollerblade on the beach without a problem. I could bicycle, wherever I wanted to. And people would just go, hey.
What part of California?
Venice, the whole beach.
Yeah.
Malibu all the way down. Wherever. They're so used to seeing people, it didn't matter to them.
Well, they used to send people in New York, too.
Yeah, now when I'm in New York, my fans are older because I am, and they just go, hey, Lyte, I see you, girl. Go ahead, and it's done. Right. When you're young, you have young fans, and they want to chase you around the city. They're on your heels. Oh, my God, it's MC Lyte.
Well, you still have young fans.
I do, but they, maybe it's because I'm older. Maybe it's because my temperament is different.
Yeah.
That they're able to, even if they're in a crowd, they're able to wait. They get the autograph, they wait in line. It's a much more sustainable scenario.
Let's go back to Nat. How did Nat protect you? Because I just don't recall, MC Lyte scandal. I don't remember stuff like that.
Stage to the hotel. Hotel to the bus on the road, bus to the venue to the hotel to the bus, then to the next, dun. It was no time.
Right.
Once he talked with my mom and promised her he would keep me safe, that was all to it. I wasn't around.
Is Nat still around?
He is.
He is? Mm-hmm. Man, salute, Nat. Salute. Should write a book about it.
Yeah, he's in that. I think he's in Atlanta now.
Should write a book about it because with everything that's going on with Diddy and, people are talking about how young people are being taken advantage of in the industry, but especially young women. That has to be something that's very difficult to wrap your head around, people being taken advantage of in the industry. So you were able to totally avoid being taken advantage of as in terms of somebody trying to give you an opportunity for a favor?
An opportunity for a favor?
Yeah. The favors that only women can provide.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't have that problem. I think mainly because I felt like a young sister to most of these guys. Considered me, that's Lil Lyte, especially when I came into business. It was like, oh my God, I was 16, 17 years old. So I didn't have any issues to that degree. And the guys that may have, come on to me at some point or another was just because we were friends and it clicked for them like, oh my goodness, this could be something. And then I had to tell them it's nothing, that we're friends. But no, I was lucky. I wasn't, the thing about this business is if you're unclear about who it is that you are.
Come on with it.
They will put a title on you and make you that thing.
Yeah.
And so I didn't wait around long enough to be told anything different.
Right.
And so from the studio and I had 3 of the biggest bodyguards ever. So there was no one to propose something to me that shouldn't have been. Dougie reminds me of a time when I was at the World, and he says, Lyte, you remember that time you told me I had run into this huge celeb? And he asked me, did I want to buy some crack? And I must have been about 18 at this time. And while I was in the world, I walked over to Dougie and I said, you know what this fool just said to me? He said, what? He said, he asked me, did I want to buy some crack? He was like, don't pay him no mind. Don't pay him no mind. And I just was floored that that guy would have asked me that. And he was serious. But there weren't too many opportunities for people to come to me with something like that. Like, you want to try this or you want to... It was just the weirdest scenario.
Yeah, something bit me real good. I guess it's a mosquito. Got me good.
Got you good.
What do you think about mosquitoes? You know, like...
You mean aside from the genetically engineered ones in Florida?
Do you freak out with it? Are you the type of woman that freak out on insects and stuff, bugs and stuff like that?
It depends on how big they are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I am accosted by an insect, look, I don't go after them. I mind my own business.
Yeah.
But if they
present themselves,
I look at them like a real enemy. Like, you done really messed with the wrong one, homie.
Right.
You should have minded your own business. You should have stayed outside. And, you know,
crazy.
You came up in here, partner. It's on.
It's
and
on.
I will destroy
it's
them.
It's over. I think I feel that way about a fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically a fly, because I've seen in slow motion what they do to your food when they sit.
Mm-hmm.
It's disgusting.
And people don't realize that they let off. It's some type of.
It's just nasty. They excrete
some
kind of thing
fluid
on your food. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And it's naked to the eye. So just as quick as you turn your head and they land, it's like it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I went to Turks and Caicos recently, and went to this restaurant. Food was great, but before I went, I should have asked the flies what they thought about it.
You know what?
Because they was everywhere, man. I'm talking about now. This is not a knock on Turks and Caicos, because I love the island, beautiful place. But those damn flies that was at that restaurant, I was at. Somebody I should have sued them. Can you sue if you're not from there?
You're crazy.
But yeah, I was like,
let me tell you, it's not just Turks and Caicos. It's everywhere. Yeah. It's everywhere that's hot, except for, I think, Hawaii.
Oh, Hawaii.
Or Cabo.
Yeah.
You know, those are Western, and the air is a little more fluent, and so they can't really get their grip to be around. Yeah. It's those hot places where it's outside and things are still enough that they can control their movement.
Yeah, that weather in Hawaii is so ideal. I used to have a timeshare property in Honolulu, and man, you don't get rain, you get a mist. Beautiful, beautiful place, like really, really beautiful place to be. What's your favorite destination?
I don't know that I've been there yet. But I do.
Look at you growing over there. You're showing off.
I do like a lot of places. I enjoy Jamaica. I like Cancun. I like Anguilla, St. Bart's. But I don't know that that's it. I still haven't been to the Maldives. I still haven't been to Morocco. There's quite a few places.
Been to Greece?
I've been to Greece. I've been to Crete. But then I didn't get a chance to see any of the other spaces there.
Yeah.
I went on a cruise and I did that whole Mediterranean. And then, of course, I've performed in those places before. But to really go to vacation, I haven't seen Greece the way that I'd like to.
I got a recommendation. Mykonos.
Yes, I've heard.
Man.
Mykonos, yeah.
You talking about a beautiful place. The water, like in the ocean, is like you can see probably about 100 feet deep, just blue waters. Everything is white. All of the building structures are white, like something that you might see in a biblical book.
I've seen the
absolutely beautiful
pictures.
Yeah.
Yes, it's picturesque.
Yeah, it is. How was growing up in Brooklyn? Like, I know there was a tough area and all that kind of stuff, but how was it for you, and how did you managed to remain safe and amidst all of that chaos?
Well, my block was made up of many single mothers with daughters, with only children, only daughters. It was like one or two families where there was a brother and sister, and there were one or two families that were American. Everyone else came from some island of some sort. And everybody looked out for one another. It's really just that simple. It's probably, I grew up in the 90s, and it was 91st to 96th, Rutland all the way to Clarkson. So you've got like a 5-block radius with the public school and junior high school there. And everybody knew everybody. So it was kind of difficult for something to happen unless you were looking for trouble.
Yeah.
We could hear the gunshots go off, lots of activity, but somehow those who weren't looking for that were able to kind of stay free, especially the girls.
How did you stay free, though? Because, see, I like to say some people are bred, some people are raised. The ones who are bred are uncivilized mutts. And we do live amongst a lot of uncivilized mutts today. Some people don't have any type of boundaries.
Yeah.
Growing up, we did have boundaries. There were certain things you would not absolutely dare say to your own mother, your father. You wouldn't dare do certain things to your sister or your brother. And it just seems like today there is no boundaries. So I'm asking you this because you're different. I don't know who raised you, but they did a good job. So where did that come from? Where did that light come from? Who sparked it?
That's interesting. I don't attribute it to just one person. You know, of course, there's my mom. Spent a significant amount of time with my grandfather before he passed. My cousins were all older than me. So I just think it's probably just a level of maturity and a deeper understanding to what I'm here for and why I do what I do. For me, it's always been about getting the work done. So even if it was schoolwork, it's getting the work done. Even getting my first job, you know, all of the things that I did was done with the totality of my commitment. And so I just attribute it to hard work and understanding that I'm here to do what God wants me to do. And there have been moments when I fought that, you know, and my mother says, do you have to use that language in your, I'm talking to a certain person. So I got to be able to get down in the nitty gritty and speak a language that they understand.
Now, how old were you?
It was when I first started. 16, when I had a potty mouth saying everything.
You was cussing?
I could. What?
No, you wasn't cussing
Is
in
that
front
a
of
question?
You was cussing in front of your mama?
Well, when you put it on record, you cursing in front of the world.
Oh, okay. But I'm saying like just in person, not off.
No.
Not on the
Why
record.
would I curse?
Not the record.
Yeah.
But off the record.
I'm talking about the record
cuss
because
off
that's
the
what
record.
she was talking about.
Gotcha.
Like, do you have to do that?
Oh, right.
And at the time, I said, yes, I have to do that
Right.
because I'm talking to a particular person out there.
Let me tell you something funny, like. So, my mom, who taught me how to cuss,
Okay.
like some people pick up cussing from their parents or whatever. I think I went to university. Like my mom could put cuss words together like nobody could.
Right.
She was a cuss word contortionist. And so one day I'm opening for Dana Dane. I'm still an amateur, but I'm about 1 or 2 years away from signing my contract. Open for Dana Dane. My mom is at the show. It's a big show. So I'm on stage. I'm killing it. I'm holding it down for a whole hour, and I don't even have a record out. But I'm holding it down. So I look over at my mama, and she's on the front row blushing, like she doing this here, like, oh my God. Like, what the hell? You the one who taught me this. Like, how do you? I don't understand. Like, how do parents?
That's in the house.
What's that? That's
in the house. What she taught you was in the house.
Right.
Now you done went out there and put her on Front Street.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't know how effective I would have been if I didn't have that anger that I, was raised in that household with. If I didn't have some of the angst that I had, I don't know if I would have had the passion on wax that I did. I probably would have been spitting more like a laid back Rakim style. Like, Rakim was like, man, when Rakim rap, it's like he ain't got no problems, even though he's talking about like hustling and coming up and stuff. Yeah. Rakim's so smooth with it. It's like, man, this ain't nothing. I'm getting through this. This is just this is a bump in the road.
He began, I think, the age of talking to your audience through rhyming.
Yeah.
Because I really felt like he was talking as opposed to performing. And I think a lot of the other guys prior to him, it was a performance. It was a show. When you talk about Melly Mel and the message, or white lines, pure as a driven snow. Everything was
and theatrical.
Sort of theatrical. Yes, exactly. And with him, it was just like I came in the door, said it before.
Yeah.
He just rhythmically flowed in a different kind of way.
Who's your all-time favorite male rapper besides me? I mean, I ain't gonna take no credit.
Okay,
but go ahead.
Okay, good.
Do you?
You was about to make it real hard.
Right.
I don't know that I have just one. I have a few for different reasons. Rakim, because he's just masterful with the way that he puts words together. Melly Mel, that was the first. The Message was the first kind of song that I learned all of the words to, and he really vividly painted this picture of the Bronx. I had not been there yet, so it felt like he just was really good at painting a picture.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, Slick Rick with Lottie Dottie, that was a different kind of picture. But from the two of them came I Cram to Understand You, which is where I tried to vividly paint a picture of me in love with a guy who was in love with a woman whose name started with a C and ended with a K, and it turns out he was on crack. So that came from them. And then, of course, there's KRS-One. He's got that...
The teacher.
Yes, unbelievable way of carrying on the traditions to this day that he began long ago with why our history of hip-hop is so important. So I love them all for different reasons.
Were there a female out there? Was there a female out there that you really looked up to that made you want to get in the game? Oh.
Well, yeah, Sha Rock from the Funky 4+1 More was the first one that I had heard, and I was like, oh, wow, women do this. Okay, that's cool. And then, of course, it was Sequence with Angie B, Cheryl, and Blondie, and noticing all their different styles. But when I heard Salt and Pepper, that was when I was like, oh, okay, I could do this.
I ain't gonna lie. I think it was, for me, the first one that I heard, first female I heard was Roxanne Shante. That was the one that I heard, and I was like, she talking shit. And then, then I heard Salt and Pepper, and I was like, yeah, they got something. And then I heard MC Lyte, and I was like, I'm gonna be completely transparent with you. When I very first heard you, I was like, just another female rapper. And then you hit with that, you hit them with the cha cha cha, and I was like, the way I grade female rappers is the same way I grade male rappers.
Well, that's good.
It's like, is this person saying something that I perhaps might have said or wouldn't have thought of? Right?
I think I grade the same way.
And you got that.
Or the uncanny way in which something is presented. It's like, oh, like Ultramagnetic MCs, Cool Keith. He was one of my favorites, especially the way he danced on that beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really.
But I was on the cool. I'm serious. Like, you was consistent from day one, but I was hating from day one. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. Terrible. I was hating.
Yeah.
I was hating.
You and a whole lot of
I was hating on Pac too. When I first heard Pac, I was like, oh man, here this dude is. You know, he's an actor. You know, he coming into this world. It's just, you know, hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had no idea. Like, by the time he dropped that second one, I was like, oh yeah, this dude is the real deal.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm telling you, like that's how I get to favorites. Like, it's the ones that I respect their craft. You know, and then also if they're good people, like I respect artists who go beyond the artistry and work on their character. You know, it's cool what you do, but I'm more concerned about who you are than what you do. That's why I got friends who are not industry people. Some of my friends, I got many friends who work 9 to 5s, regular jobs, you know, but it's all about character, you know. It's not, you know, just getting caught up in what somebody do and how much money they make and all that kind of stuff. You know, you can find yourself in a dark place. Yeah. It's like you was alluding to earlier. You know, if you don't know what you will do for money, you better know what you won't do for money. You know, I'm going, just listening to you, like, well, following your journey. If you could, like, take one day throughout your journey, your journey to success, and redo it, one day, what would it be, and how would you change it to present a different outcome? What would you do differently?
I know exactly the day that I would want to change. And I had been on tour for some time. And I came home from tour, and I used to hang out with one of my security guards, Big Vaughn. Actually, I wasn't hanging out. He was working. Wherever I was, he was. So at some point, we became friends because, you know, when you spend a lot of time with people, it's good at some point to have some sort of reverence or, you know, getting along. And it not being so stoic, like you work for me, I work for you kind of thing. And I love to play handball. It's one of the things that we played in junior high school. I always said when I finally got my first house, I was going to build a big wall and have a handball court in my backyard. Never happened. We were playing handball on like West 4th, downtown Manhattan, and we looked at the time, and there weren't mobile phones at this time, but I had a meeting with Nike to develop a shoe. The two designers were in New York from California, and I wouldn't stop playing handball to go meet them. Somebody else set the meeting. I don't know that I was in agreement with it for it to be at that time. And I missed the meeting. And there were no phones or anything, you know. There might have been pagers, but I don't know that I had one. I think it might have been like 1990, 1991, somewhere around there. but I was really tight with Nike. I think if you looked at anything from the late 80s into the early 90s, I had a really strong relationship with them. We did a lot of collaborations for my tours and presentations, and they were ready to do my shoe. And I was out in the street playing handball with no one to tell me, what the hell are you doing? Get your ass to that meeting right now. And I think that would have been the beginning of business on another level, which then would have, I believe, escalated things at a much quicker pace. And the decision that I made led me to more of safe, a safe route, which was a steady climb, but not as quickly as it could have been.
Had you ascended to the top, rapidly,
yeah,
perhaps you wouldn't have been prepared.
Absolutely. I mean,
that could have been disastrous.
Yeah, I don't think anything is by mistake. I think what results is the truth. And that was my truth. I wasn't ready for it, obviously. I didn't want to show up to a meeting that could have resulted in something, big, huge, maybe not. But whatever it was, I wasn't ready for it, which is why I didn't show up.
Was your your journey into becoming a DJ, was that like something, was that happenstance, or was that something that did you have an aha moment and you go like, yo, I think I'm gonna do this DJ thing?
Well, what's funny is I grew up in a 4-family home that was owned by a Jamaican family who had 2 sons, and one of them was a DJ. And so he had a DJ set up in his basement. Well, what do you call a sound system? And every once in a while I would go down there and he would let me play his rockers music, which is how I became familiar with Yellow Man and Super Cat and Beres Hammond, Barrington Levy, all of the greats. And I would DJ then, with the turntables. And then when I performed probably maybe that first big tour, they would, K-Rock would tell me, get on the turntables. And I would get on the turntables and he would go down with the microphone to the crowd. And I would go up to the turntables and I would do a little jigga, So I was familiar already with how it worked. But when I ran into Biz in like 2008 in an airport one time, because we always used to go back and forth with music. But this particular time he says to me, why don't you DJ? And I'm like, why don't I what? He was like, you should DJ. I said, I don't understand. He said, music, Lyte. We go back and forth about music all the time. This is your chance to just, curate a night of music. People don't care whether you scratch or whatever. He said, matter of fact, I don't even want you to blend. I just want you to go for the next record and go for the next record. And I was like, all right, well, what do I need to do? And so he gave me a list of the things that I needed to get. DJ Cool V sent me my first library of music. And of course, this is all Serato by this point. And that's how I really started.
Now, are you using turntables or are you pushing buttons?
Whatever I have. I'll use
What's more
turntables.
convenient?
Right now, a player,
a
controller is easiest. It's easy for other, for the places that I go to as well, because a lot of these places either don't have turntables, or their turntables are old, or they just don't work properly. They're not in time. One is moving slower than it should be. I find a lot of technical difficulties if they don't have new out-the-box turntables.
Yeah. I checked out the Executioners the other day. They had a exhibition in Houston, and it's something else to see those DJs up on that stage doing the scratching and thing. But I was just looking at it and I was like, as much as they're doing it should probably be 10,000 people in here, but I just don't think people care about it like that. I'm talking about the people that pay. See, it's one thing for us because people, our contemporaries, we talk a lot of shit about the music and not being up to par, or DJs this and DJs that, but the fans today, they really don't care. Most of them really do not care. I don't think they appreciate scratching and all of that kind of stuff. They don't appreciate you picking up them heavy-ass turntables, bringing them in and out. You got to have another person, by the way, to do that. You got to hire somebody to bring that stuff in, pick up those crates and all of that stuff. They don't. I don't think they care. So in my mind, it's like, why spend all that extra money and
I think some people
that
do.
extra manpower if they're not going to appreciate it?
I think some people do. I think some people do appreciate it. I mean, given the 50th year of hip hop last year on tour, where we had 25 to 30,000 people every night, at least they did. I went on and off the tour, but Jazzy Jeff, when he goes to scratch, people want to hear it. They want to, those are the people who are really into the craft of things, and they respect what it is that he and many others do. It's the same reason DJ Scratch was invited to do the Beyonce tour, because there's something about what it is that he does in his presentation that people who know really know, and they appreciate it. Yeah.
I absolutely appreciate it. And all of those guys, they put in so much work to do what they do. And Kid
Capri, I mean, of course, I'm talking about those who have built their names on what it means to be a turntablist, right? But just like there are pockets of people who are into, what hip-hop really means on a cultural level and what it's meant to do. Then there's people that will fill a stadium and go to Drake concert and don't give two F's about DJing. As a matter of fact, who is Drake's DJ?
Drake's DJ actually is named... what's this guy's DJ? I can't say his name.
My point exactly.
Yeah, I can't say his name.
Right, and I'm sure he's very pivotal to the success of Drake as it relates to his stage shows and what he might contribute during his recording sessions. But there are a pocket of people who don't care. They'll go to his concerts and they don't know who that person is. But, when you get to the nitty-gritty of where we come from, we shine the light on our DJs like Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Eric B. and Rakim, Easy Rock, Rob Bass. Like a lot of the MCs from then, who their DJs are. K-Rock. Everybody's always asking me, where's K-Rock? Or is K-Rock going to be with you? Yeah, if I'm doing a show, he's normally going to be there. So those are the people that ask are the people who care. And for the ones that don't, they'll just be fed by something else.
How do you feel about the foundation you laid for women empowerment through hip-hop and how it translates in today's landscape for female rappers?
There's not many things to feel bad about. In the world, yes. There's corruption in every aspect of what it is that we have to face, whether it's food, politics, weather. Everything has some sort of, dark shadow. However, when it comes to what it is that I've contributed to hip-hop, I've only tried to be the light and bring the light. And, for those days where I might have thought it was okay to, just be cursing and, acting a fool. I don't feel as though I've done the type of damage that wasn't reversible. Meaning, let me grow up. Let me grow up and, bump my head a couple of times to understand what it is that I really can impart. You talk about empowerment. Now is the time. This new album, One of One, to me is my ministry. It's me saying, this is where I made my mistakes. This is where you don't have to. This, everything from, truth, I can own it. Hate, I don't condone it. I'm giving every bit of a jewel that I can in this new music. So if the new female rappers coming in feel as though I've contributed or inspired them in some sort of way, that's great. I know that there were others who came before me that inspired me. And, whether it's Salt and Pepper, Roxanne Shante, Sweet Tea, Sparky D, I was listening to them all. And I'm sure, me coming onto the scene rapping, someone else who had been in it could say, oh, she was inspired by this person. She was inspired by that person, so.
You got any regrets about any songs that you wrote?
Not songs that I wrote, but maybe some things that I said.
In a song?
In them,
in a song?
Yeah, just, I think sometimes when people don't know you and you're not specifically clear, you can be misunderstood. And I know for me, take for instance, I think there was a song with Nelly and KRS-One, and I think something had been said and it started some kind of beef, and I just was like, wow, why isn't it that someone in the studio didn't say to that person, hey, you know what, that sounds like it could be this, maybe just stay away from that. There are times when I'm writing and I'm like, oh, you know what, that line, so-and-so might think I'm talking about them because they had a song where they said that, and I don't want the confusion. Even if it sounds dope, I don't want the headache of somebody thinking that I was disrespecting them. So there's so many times when, you can make the decision to be free and say whatever you say, but then there's times when you can be responsible. And I think as a kid, I was just like, I'm going to say whatever I want to say, however I want to say it.
What you said?
Specifically, there was a song called Too Young for What? And I think one of these younger folks online got a hold of it and was like, oh, Lyte was talking about a 17-year-old. And I was like,
okay.
And at this time, I was poking fun because we were doing all of these schools, high schools and stuff, and the guys were like winking their eyes, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do a song just for them. And at the time, I was, I don't know, maybe 19 years old. As a matter of fact, I was, because for us, when we put out records back then, we worked on a record for 8, 9, 10 months sometimes. And then we, do all of the promotion and everything that we had to do for a record. And so this girl who came out with her analogy of the song says she had to be 21 or whatever because the record came out in 91. Well, for much of 91, I was 20 because, my birthday happens at the end of the year. But not only that, all of the preparation from when I actually recorded it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm talking about a 17-year-old and I'm 19. Okay, I'm not really doing nothing. Just like there was no Poor Georgie, there was no Sam. It's fictitious stuff. But then I thought about it. I was like, well, wow, when I was 14, my boyfriend was 16. And when I was 16... he was 18. And when I was 17, he was 19. But that's no problem because I'm a young lady and he's a young man. But you flip it and we talk about a 17 and a 19, then there's an issue. You know what? Rather than to make excuses, I was young and I said some shit that I probably, had I had the experience that I've had in knowing that words have so much power, I may not have put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I put out this song called Bald Head Hoes, right?
Oh, Lord.
And, when I did the song, I really thought I was going to change the world.
You crazy.
It's the arrogance of an artist, right?
Wait, how did you think you was going to change the world with that
Like,
word?
check this out. So I'm thinking I'm going to discourage women from wearing weaves and wigs, right? Because men, we don't like it, right? So I'm going to discourage, I'm going to shame them into not wearing wigs and weaves. I'm going to shame them into it, right? Man, it's like, them women was like, "Nigga, fuck you." Like, we going to do what we want to do anyway.
Regardless.
Yeah, like, take it or leave it.
Right.
Like, but, and so, a couple of years into touring, I'm growing, I'm evolving, as a man, and I'm getting a better understanding of women and life. So I decided I'm going to take Bald Head House out of my lineup. I'm taking it out. I'm not doing it no more. I don't care how y'all scream for it. I'm not doing it, right? This time, Bald Head Hoes and Mind Playing Tricks is the two top songs they want to hear when we on the road. So I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. Take it out. So a few years go by, and then one day we're in the alley behind the venue, sitting in a 15-passenger, and we're about to get out. And these two girls walk up, and one girl says, "Where Willie D? Where's Willie D?" So I'm right there on the door, so I pull the door back, and I say, "What's up?" And she say, "I know you're gonna do Bald Head Hoes," and she snatched her wig off. I looked at Damo, our DJ, I say, "Put it back in the lineup." Because it was at that point that I realized that these songs, once you put them out there, they're not just your songs anymore. They belong to the people who purchased them. They belong to the fans. So, although I don't, I wouldn't make that type of song today. It has a nostalgia for people.
Yeah.
And they want to hear the song. And when I'm doing the shows, it's the women that are screaming the loudest for the song. And it's the women that are screaming the loudest when I'm performing the song. So, that's but is that a regret?
Right.
The jury is still out on that
The
song
jury is
for
still.
me.
Well, Too Young for What? I've actually never performed it. For that album, it was actually a filler. It wasn't meant to be a single. It wasn't, and you'll find on a lot of my albums, like, we know what the killers are. Matter of fact, the record label would just let me go do whatever I wanted to do, and then when they were ready for business, they would send me to whoever it is that they wanted me to work with, because they knew that creatively I needed to just work. So they wouldn't send me to what they call the super producers until I had ran around and exhausted myself with recording. And then they said, "Okay, go there. Okay, we're going to send you there." And that.
Are you overall, like, happy with your experience in the music industry? Like, as far as the business side?
You know what? There are things that happen that are on the much lighter side of what I hear or what I've seen. So I thank the record label for giving me the opportunity. It's because of what Sylvia Roan did and put in, along with Nat Robinson and the entire team up there, that people know my name today. People know those songs because people worked really hard for them to know them. The radio people worked hard. Richard Nash and his team up at Atlantic Records. PR worked hard. Ann Christianoff. So many people that did a fantastic job at what they do that built the foundation that MC Lyte still walks on and performs today. However, I see what's happening to people now, and it's really rough out there. It's really rough. And as a matter of fact, there's a younger artist who, we'll go back and forth on text, and I hadn't heard from her in a minute. And I texted and I said, is everything okay? And she was like, oh yeah, everything is okay. I'm so sorry. I should be better. But everything is moving so fast. I said, I understand. I said, well, while it's moving fast, just keep your eyes open and listen. Because right now, the game is I'm going to get something on you so that I can just keep you quiet throughout your star experience. And unfortunately, a lot of them get caught up in that trap. But you can't learn anything if you're not open enough to listen to the ones who have been through it.
Right.
Or at least the greatest disservice that they can convince the younger generation of is that there's nothing to learn from the people who have been in it for 40 years. If you can keep them separated, the young from the old, then the same old tricks can be ran on the young. So.
Damn, I never thought about that like that. But I can see somebody out there scheming, people in higher places scheming, that are purposely making sure that they keep the young and the old, or the older,
the mature,
away from each other.
The mature from the
mature.
less, the knowledgeable from the less knowledgeable, or the ignorant. Not ignorant as in stupid, but ignorant that you just don't know. Exactly.
Right. You're one of the few artists out there, period, male or female, that we almost have like a reverence for you. Like do you feel that? Like you it's not that like we infantilize you or anything, but we want to protect you. MC Lyte. We want to protect you. Okay, nobody better don't say shit bad about MC Lyte. You better not say nothing about her. You know what I'm saying? You better not do nothing to her. Like, do you ever feel an obligation to make sure you make the right decision?
Absolutely.
So that the fans don't like.
Let me tell you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's from what I understand, there's only two things to be gained from press. Two reasons to do press. One is to continue to allow the public to believe what it is that you say you are, or one is to completely change their mind. And I believe that I've built a lot of trust with my fans and with people who are familiar with my work and, on and off the mic. And so, yes, I have to take into account, is that the best decision for me? Do I need to do a song with that person? Do I need to I pass on movies all the time. I'm not acting like nobody's witch. I'm not rising from the dead. I'm not, there's a time and place for all of that. I know a lot of people love sci-fi and, wicked stuff, but that's just not my world. And if I don't believe me in a circumstance like that, I know that other people are not going to believe me as well. It's like, what is that? That's not MC Lyte's lane. because I've got a lane, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. Do you know Diddy?
I do. He remixed. Well, you know what? I should say I did. I did know Diddy. That's funny. Did and do. Okay, never mind. Yes, he did the remix for Cold Rocker Party. So we had a couple of times. I think I can actually count on one hand, though, how many times I've seen him.
Right. So it would be fair to say that you guys are just acquaintances, not friends. You're not friends.
You know, we don't talk on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like asking, like, where are Diddy? I'm one of those people. Like, where's Diddy friends? Like, I understand what Diddy's being accused of, but I'm gonna tell you this: I'm the type of friend that if I fuck with you, I'm stuck with you. So, whatever you've been accused of, let me slide this preference in real quick and get back off it. Okay, so let's say whatever he's been accused of, let's say it happened to somebody in my family or whatever, that's different because I know these people. And so I know if somebody say, well, what if it happened to your daughter, whatever? Well, I know my daughter. So that's different from something happening to a stranger, right? So I don't know this stranger. I don't know if these people are telling the truth or if they're not. But in any event, if that's my friend, at the very least, I'm going to pick up the phone and say, dog, you got some damn explaining to do because people over here asking me questions and stuff, and I need to know what's going on. Like you ain't got to tell me verbatim everything that's going on, but I just need to know, man, did you do that shit? Like, because they asking me a bunch of questions, right? So I need to know, man, what's going on. At the very least, I'm going to reach out and tell my friend, like, look, man, hey, whatever it is, I ain't gonna say I'm gonna tell him he gotta take his hit, but he gotta take his hit. If he did it, he's found guilty, he gotta take his hit. If he actually did something like what he did with Cassie, he gotta take his hit for that. We saw that, we know that it happened, it went down. His ass guilty of that. So at the very least, he gotta be punished for that. A lot of the other things that he's done, he's accused of, we don't know, could have happened, may not have happened. On a personal level, I think a lot of shit did happen. I also think a lot of people lying. I think that a lot of people's out there trying to get a money grab. In any event, if that's my boy, that's my homeboy, at the very least, I'm going to ask him, yo, man, do you need something? Can I help you get a lawyer? You know, you're going to go down. I want to make sure that if you need something, I'm here for you, bro. I'm not saying that if I find out that these really bad things that you are accused of doing really happen, that I'm gonna stay friends with you. You know what I'm saying? At some point, I may have to distance myself from you, but I'm not distancing myself because of what fans think. I'm not gonna distance myself from my friend because of, you know, how it might affect my career. A friend is a friend. A friend is an old saying, a friend in need is a friend indeed. So I want to know, where the hell is Diddy friends? Like all of these, where are Diddy's friends? You had a similar situation with Jada and Will, where people is saying disparaging things about Jada and Will, right? How did you deal with listening to these people saying disparaging things about your friends without busting somebody upside the head?
Well, although words are powerful, you have to know that some people who are not powerful will use words to try to get a rise or get some sort of, reaction from you. As it relates to the topic you were talking about before, we don't know what's happening behind closed doors. His friends could be telling him whatever. You know, they could be saying, I got you, I'm praying for you. You know, whatever that thing is. I think I'm seeing all over the news, nobody's coming to his rescue. Like, what are you expecting people to do? This is, you know how they say hip hop is somewhat of an individual sport, right? So I can go and do what I do, and I can have all the love from all of my, colleagues that are in the business, but this is my path. I'm getting on this stage. I'm going to do what I do, and then we could celebrate later. We could even do a song together. We'll all come out. Life is that way, too. There are certain things that are meant to be experienced by that person. And whether it's, God saying this is the lesson that we all have to learn at this time. You learn yours. You've got to learn yours. We've all got these individual paths that we're walking. But we for sure don't know if he's speaking to his friends or not. Or if his friends have said, hey, I'm here for you, whenever you need to talk. Whatever it is that they're capable of giving at this point. And the same thing goes for Will and Jada. Somebody asked me the other day, how have you gotten to the... There was something online on YouTube that was talking about me and, my ex-husband, as if we were still together. And it said, see her riches and her mansions. And I've never seen these homes before. They went through every nook and cranny, and MC Lyte loves the bay windows here and I'm like, I love what? What is this? They showed a home on the East Coast. No, they showed a house on the East Coast, and then said, and let's show you her mansion on the West Coast. And then they went into it, and it was a 2-bedroom apartment. But they're showing all of the furniture and everything. Someone says to me, you don't get upset with that? And I'm like, no, I'm beyond the point of getting upset at something that somebody said. I've been in this shit for 30-something years. Like, they've been talking since the day anybody steps foot in the business. You become the target of whatever it is that people want to say or talk about. Now, it just so happens with Will and Jada, they've been under the spotlight for many years prior to even getting together. So there's nothing that I'm going to say on their behalf that's going to stop people from talking. It's par for the course.
You're right, but sometimes you just gotta let a motherfucker know. Like say, man.
Say, man, what? Who am I talking to?
Say, man, you. Okay, this you.
I'm talking to the person that just asked me.
I'm finna give you the spiel.
Because you getting ready to give me the spiel to say back to you. So what you want me to tell you?
Hey, you don't even know what the fuck you talking about.
You don't even know what you talking about.
There you go. That's all you gotta say.
Okay, good. There you go. Thanks for that tutorial.
Because people don't. Most people don't. A lot of times, I see stuff. I know people. Sometimes people say things about me. My life ain't that interesting. I'm a homebody.
Yeah.
But I see people hear people saying things about people that I know personally. Mm-hmm. Like I hear people saying things about Beyonce. Mm-hmm. And Beyonce is one of the most beautiful people I ever met. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about a person, like heart. Mm-hmm. One of the most beautiful people that I've ever known, even well before she became famous. Mm-hmm. Her dad was the manager, always been the manager of the group. She was the lead singer. Mm-hmm. She could have been a diva when she was a kid. She could have been like bossy and all. She was never that. She was always the type that would help her friends and be concerned about her group members and things like that if they was going through something. She was, first one to jump up when it was time to work, to put the work in. She was just always a really sweet person. So when I start hearing people saying she's this and she that or whatever, now a lot of it is just...
So you went to her rescue?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I have no problem saying, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I have no problem saying that because even though I could say that also in private, right? You could say that in private, and I think that's cool. But being like, everything is not for public consumption, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not really necessarily mad at people who don't, like friends that don't make it public, what they think about people saying, how they people treat their friends or whatever. Because I know not everybody is me, because I mean me like I get myself in trouble sometimes because I don't.
You just say what you.
Well, it's like I care, but like I don't care enough to think the shit all the way through sometimes, and I just say it, and then it comes back, but I don't really trip on anything that comes back to me when I stand on righteousness, because I know that me defending a friend is not wrong, but in the public eye, if somebody doesn't like that friend or whatever, especially a celebrity, if they don't like that person, then anything that a person says to affirm that person's character is going to be taken out of context. They're going to come with the heat. So I understand that. But at the same time, I understand that we all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God and our parents' expectations. So, look, as long as I'm standing on righteousness, I can defend myself, and I can sleep well. That's the way I look at it. If I'm standing on righteousness, and I don't see anything wrong about defending a friend, it doesn't matter what the public thinks. Like a friend in need is a friend indeed, right? So that's how I look at it,
That's good, Willie D.
You sound like Isaiah Carey. You know who Isaiah Carey is?
No, is it? This is movie
He's going to be at your
phone.
show.
You said what? Oh,
He's going to be at your show tonight.
Okay.
He's a news reporter in Houston.
Okay.
The best, one of the best in the world.
And I just sounded like him.
Yeah, that's how
Willie
he do.
D.
He's like, Willie, good for you, Willie.
Good for you.
Good for. Now he called me Willie. He said, good for you, Will. Good for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I do want to know, like, how did you get that announcing job? The first time I saw you announcing, you was at some award. I don't remember the award show, but after that, you've done plenty of award shows. How did you first get the job to do the announcing, and were you a little nervous?
I think it all started with Hip Hop Honors, VH1 Hip Hop Honors. And so I was commentating behind stage, and some of the producers from that show also did the BET Awards. So they invited me over to do it. Nervous? Not to speak. It's written. I don't have to make up anything. I'm just talking.
Yeah, but you be talking smooth.
Smooth?
You're really
know.
good. No, you're really, really good at it. Like when I look at the different like things that you do career-wise, that you've done career-wise, like you really do everything that you do well.
Thank you, Willie. I appreciate that. I try. The thing is to be prepared for it before you even start. So I did coaching classes for VO. I did acting classes for acting. I like to study before I jump in.
Yeah. How did you get the job with Aerosmith? The job of co-creating with these guys.
With who?
Did you work with? I thought you worked with Aerosmith.
Well, that's Run DMC. Aerosmith.
I thought you had worked with Aerosmith. Okay, but you work with what's her name?
Sinead O'Connor.
Sinead O'Connor.
Okay,
yeah.
Sinead O'Connor. It was great. Her manager reached out to my manager and said that they had a song that they wanted to do a remix on, and they had heard "I Crammed to Understand You," and they wanted me to participate. And I think I went down to. I don't know if it was the Mercer. I'm not sure if the Mercer was open during that time, but it was a really swanky kind of restaurant, hotel lobby. I'm almost sure that the cover of that remix is the same day that we either met one another or that we were just about to go into the studio or something. It's a real casual single cover. And it was just easy. She knew she wanted me to rap on her song, and I heard the song, and I made up the rap, and we did it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see those videos that be popping out? You ever seen these little viral clips of...
Mosquitoes?
No. Well, I guess they could be a metaphor for mosquitoes. These viral clips of these women who talk about the things they want out of a man. They say the man got to make this amount of money,
Mm-hmm.
and he has to be this tall and
Mm-hmm.
and all of these type of things. Like, were y'all as a young lady? Were you ever like that?
Of course, they tell you to make your list.
So what did your list include when you were like 16, 17?
Well, I don't know if I had a list at that point. My list probably didn't come until I was in my 20s. And it was, kind and funny and, and understanding and communicative and, all of the things that you first need to strive to be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But no one thinks of that with the first list.
Yeah.
With the first list, it's like everything that you want.
Right.
And then when you realize through some living and through being in relationships that you too have to be all that it is you're trying to find, or at least what it is that you want to keep, then you either throw the list away or you change the list, and it becomes more of, what do I have to offer? Knowing that you are going to be met with who it is that you are.
Yeah. You've obviously dated, you've been married. How did you manage to not be jaded like some people are, And not just women though, but men are too. A lot of men are jaded also. They got nothing but bad things to say about women. Women can only serve them in some way, and that's it.
That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show. That last part of what you said, I don't know. You probably have to have a group of them to get a better understanding of that. But jaded? No, I believe in the sanctity of love. And
right.
I believe when two people are ready to not put themselves first, it can work. And my ex-husband and I had a clear and concise understanding that neither of us were ready. And so it didn't get all ugly and, the way that marriages can. And I think once you go down a path of, I'm going to pay him back, I'm going to pay her back, it becomes this tug of war, is when one can become jaded and not want to do it again. Yeah.
When it's time for you to go and you ain't got no more.
Yeah.
What's the way you want to be remembered?
Simply that I cared.
And because you cared, we care about MC Lyte. Man, thank you for coming on the show. Lyte, thank you.
You are very welcome. Thank you.
It has been my honor.
Thank you. It's overdue. I'm glad I was able to make it here.
Absolutely.
God bless.
No more talk.